Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's July the 24th. This will be our last chart lesson this week. For any of you that might have missed it, I'm leaving for taking vacation starting tomorrow. I'll be going to Brazil, so I'll be gone all next week and won't be back until the following Monday. So no chart lessons, um, no midday charts or anything like that. And if you will, please just hold on your email questions and things like that for the next week as well, just so I'm not overwhelmed when I come back. Um, because I won't most likely be able to answer many probably emails at all during while I'm gone. Um, if there's some kind of emergency for somebody trying to download a manual or something, I might be able to help them. But you never know down there. Sometimes email connections are spotty, and sometimes I have good email serve. I can get good internet access. Sometimes I can't, so I just really don't know how that'll play out till I get there. So if you don't get a response from me, it just means that I probably haven't been able to get your email, and uh, and if it's not something of emergency type issue, I probably won't answer anyway. So, but let's talk about the trades today. It turned out to be a trading range, really. Um, I saw this possible uptrend, a two-tiered channel here, and I do believe it was. Uh, in the end, it was probably legitimate. We kind of overshot the upper side here. We had a little break and a close outside, a move, and we missed a new high maybe by one tick. We pulled back and then we broke it again, and we tried to come back and test it again, and then went further down. But if you really back out and look at this thing, by the end of the day, it looks like a two-tiered trading range, and I made those lines darker. And you can see the bounces off the lows that are happening. You can see the perfect midline, middle of it. And this was that same area yesterday that had those matching highs. So I had this line on here regardless before I put the other two on here. I didn't really add this one until we found the resistance right here. But that was also right off the midline where we turned down. And you can see other people saw this because it tried to bounce here. And just like yesterday, they caught people off guard here and it broke lower and tried to rally, and then we're back below. And guess what? By the end of the day, this 1983 line is holding prices again. And you can see where it was at. Anytime prices got above it, it tried to act as support. And whenever they're below, it's acting as resistance. And it turns out it's just a nice trading range. We just got a nice bounce there. People probably finally decided that, hey, this low is going to hold, and they're buying it. So not a lot of setups today. This was another one I meant to mark in green. I'm gonna go ahead and mark it. I think it's really risky taking that trade, but we'll mark it all the same. I saw a little channel working up here, and you can see prices starting to wane, and you can see the midline coming in. But and we did have a break, couple of closes outside of this line already here and here, and a nice move up on a retest. So it's a little aggressive trying to go short there. I would have liked it better if prices would have broke higher and then turned down right here. I would have liked going short there, uh, but it never did that. It just kind of got stuck there and then turned down, and you don't know it's going to sell off like that. It could have easily bounced right here, or even off this line, but it didn't. So I just don't see any way to get in that trade without, if it would have broke even higher right there. This is similar to a failed second entry long. Notice the move down, the first entry, the next leg down. It never broke higher, but sometimes, close is close enough. Um, so that might have prompted you, but to go short right into that support that had kind of held a few times, I just think it's too risky. So uh, just not a lot of trades today if you're trying to play it safe. There's a couple I marked late in the day that were kind of what I would call um, a little bit risky, a little bit more aggressive, the two green ones. Um, and normally on most days I would have marked along probably right here and here. But because of this crazy resistance at 1983 for whatever reason, you can see it yesterday. I would have just about bet anything yesterday we would end up making a new high before the day was over. The prices just couldn't do it, and they finally did. They finally got that new high. Um, but it was after the close. They had to wait till after the close and do it in the overnight hours, and then you got a little correction, and then moved higher. You basically got a failed breakout the top, a breakout the bottom that ends up failing, and then up it goes finally. And then once we got back into the regular hours, it got back into this little range again, and I wasn't sure if it was going to break and go higher or not. It just really didn't look like it. So eventually it did, but I don't think you want to risk that trade. Just, if it would have broke lower first and then reversed and went out the top the same bar, maybe, but I don't like that one right there. I just think it's too risky, and just not worth taking. So, especially when prices are kind of making or not kind of, but did make a double top, and it just kind of looking like a range there. So, but let's talk about the trades that we saw coming in. I saw this channel working higher, and this is a nice move. This is mostly during the overnight. So when I came in, we were correcting down, and you got a first entry here, pull back a second entry right there. I think it's a little risky. I think you need to wait on a second entry off the low. And this is basically the same trap almost as yesterday. It turns down, traps people, turns up. So when it went out the top side, I like to go in long right there. Fairly easy scalp. And you looking for prices to make a retest here. You don't really have enough information at that point to find the channel. You've got your highs up here. You got your one channel working up, your break. You got your one working down, and we didn't really have a break and new low of it either. But this was the one I was looking for the new high. So based on that trap right there, I liked taking that one to the upside. And plus you almost got two perfect measured legs down there as well. So it was just almost a repeat pattern of what we saw right here yesterday. So I hope most of you didn't get trapped on that this time, because look at it, move down and it breaks right below, it gets below the EMA, comes back, looks like it's going to hold and turns down, and then it was a perfect repeat pattern. And that's what I really liked about it, is because it was almost the same thing that happened yesterday. And so you got to be careful of that. And then you do come up here and you find resistance right here across this area right here, and it turns down, and you're looking for a retest. I went back and forth about whether or not to make this one green as well. But I like this one to the downside, because I was really surprised that we bounced out of here without turning down earlier. I really thought it was just going to maybe turn down right here and go lower, but this thing just enough to maybe get a scalp and then turn down, but it kept going higher. So, and it is an inside bar. It's not a perfect setup. The more I think about it, looking at it after the fact, at the time in live, I really liked it to the downside there, but now that I see it after the fact and I know what's happening today, I may just change that one to green. So, and it shoots straight down, and then we tried to go lower multiple times. I like the long here, because now you've got the break, a new low. You got this is pretty much a measured move down off of this first move, but I think it's risky going long on the first entry, so you waited until it tested that area again. So I liked going long right there. In fact, I did go long right there, and then it just kind of gets hung. And so you might have gotten shaken out of this one, but it pulls back and it tests it, and now you got the little double test rule that fails, and there's enough room to get out before you get back up to these highs. So I liked going long right there, and then I really felt good about the channel. I said, that makes me feel pretty confident the channel's right. And then I thought we'd probably go on and make the new high, but we still struggled to get back through this 83 area. So that's the reason there's nothing marked here. And in fact, I should have this circled in the kind of violet color, because you just don't want to enter right there, even though it worked. And you got a second entry long, going long right there. And this is what I've been going back and forth with another trader about. These are the ones you got to be real wary at when it's at these highs and you don't have enough room to scalp out here before getting to that double top. Sure, it may work occasionally like it did here, but too many times it will fail. and it'll tick a tick higher, and then it'll turn straight down, just kind of like it did right here. And we'll talk about this area over here because this is almost um, a repeat in reverse of the one we had like this the last 2 days. So I just don't think you can go long right there. I think it's too risky. I think you just sit and watch, and then uh, you might want to take this short right here, um, simply because you do find the double top, and now it's starting to look like when you know between these two and the measured move, it's really looking like, and from here to here is a measured move from here to here basically. So um, at that point, it's really looking like a trading range. And so you might have taken that trade on that double top. That's an overnight high. It's an important place that I would have liked it better if it broke higher and then turned down and gave you a real bearish bar. But if you didn't take this bar, you might have taken it on this one. And again, if this would have broke higher again right here, I guess it did break higher, but it didn't turn down instantly. It just kind of got hung there. So it's a little bit, it's congestion, and going short or long out of congestion is risky. So I didn't like that trade. You don't know that it's going to, if you knew in advance it's going to drop like that, sure, you take it, but you don't know that. And if you move this all the way over, look at that right there. Again, if it would have broke higher and then turned down and made a big bearish bar, I would have liked it better. So, but it didn't, and it just keeps on dropping. And you can see how bearish that's looking right there. And then this gets back above this little high, makes that little move down and turns up. And notice this is a double bottom right here, and this was like the two test rule, but I don't think you can risk it on a first entry with no break here. And then when it turns down and goes back up, you figure you're gonna get a measured leg right there. So aggressive traders probably gonna shoot for that measured legs. If you measure that one and you measure that one, it's a perfect measured leg. But I also want to talk about this. I don't have the trend line drawn on there. I never drew it. But if you draw the trend line working up through there, and today was really kind of hard, even on the shorter term trend lines, because uh, the range was kind of overtaking things, some of the highs and lows, or the strong support and resistance, I guess I should say. But notice this right here. You got this little channel working up. You get a little move outside. You don't really get a close outside of, but then you get the move, and I might have it drawn a little too narrow there. Maybe it's a little steeper like so, and then you do get a close outside. Let me just see how that fits on the other side. Yeah, it does fit a little better. And by that, you get the close outside right here, and a push up, and then another move down, and then one more push up that traps people. And so you might have been looking at this with that double, with support basically moving up to here now. You can see that. And this little failed second entry and it not being back to the high, this was really, really tempting to go long. But again, it's congestion, and the odds are it's probably going to break out and fail and turn back. What I really thought would happen was it would trap people here, and they'd run the stops and trap them to the downside, and it'd turn back up, and then you'd want to go long. But it didn't do that. It just fell out the top, and when it went out the bottom, it went straight on down. And notice how it found support right there at that last low before it broke through and failed, and now it's trying to go higher. So when it broke higher there first and turned down, I liked going short there, looking for prices to come back down and at least test this. Probably test this low right here. So, and then you get another push up here, and it retests this line, basically this area, the EMA, and turns back down. I would have liked it better if it would have went on out. I went back and forth about whether to make this one green, but prices are probably coming to here. That's where they're headed, or trying to head. So if it breaks lower there, the odds are it's going to go down and test these lows from earlier in the morning, and that's exactly where it went. And I had that conversation with somebody else today too. But all of your magic tends to happen at previous highs and lows. And I'm betting a lot of you probably got trapped right there going short into that support right there. You can't, if there's not room when you enter on your stop right there, if there's not room to scalp out before that last swing low, unless it's a really strong trend, skip it. And, I can show you those trades over and over. And, you got to be real careful of that. Going short right here when there's not room to scalp out or not room to scalp out, and you get caught there and then it reverses. So, and that's another reason I don't like going long right there, because there's not room to scalp out before you get to that strong resistance or that last high. Sometimes you got to go with it, especially on traps. They're not, but you got to be real careful about it. And so study those areas, because that's where the real magic happens. Cross this line, across this line, across this line, and then when you've got the trend lines working up on those trend lines, this short-term one, this bigger trend line, I mean, it was holding all the way up through here. You got your close outside it, which is all you need for the reversal. And we may end up, there may be a bigger channel on the way down now. You draw that off those highs right there. Yeah, it does appear that there is one, and there's probably a midline in there. You can see that. There's no doubt about that. And that gives you a little more information now to trade it. So you can see the one that was working up, we got the close outside. It moves up on a retest, and now we're working down. And I do see two measured legs down there. There's leg one, and there's leg two. It's basically a perfect measured move almost. And so that was another reason that it might bounce right there. So I hope that helps. Hope that all is, this was a difficult day. There just weren't a lot of good setups. There weren't a lot of entries. So I don't know where my blue one went from right there. So you just had to be patient, and you really had to kind of gamble at the support and resistance areas a little bit if you wanted to get a good trade. And it just wasn't a real easy, clear day. Now that the day's over, it's much easier to clarify what was going on and figure it out. Just like you couldn't find this channel here until you got a little more price action. Once you've got two swings to work with, and then you've also got your two off the bottom to kind of confirm it now, then you know you're on the right track. But you got to have that in place. So hope that's clear. There's one other thing I wanted to share today before I wrap it up and go on vacation. And one of them is that, I get a lot of emails from people that really struggle with this, and they just can't understand why it's so hard, and does everybody have that hard a time? But then on the other hand, I get a lot of emails lately from people that are really having success. And so I thought, just to encourage some of y'all that are maybe struggling or not catching on as quick as you'd like, I thought I would share some positives with you so you can see that other people are getting it. And I'm gonna pause it, and there's several of them here that all come in lately, and I'm gonna share those with you. Okay, here's a chart I got from a gentleman, and you can see he sees the trend channel real well. He's got the midline in there, and he sees the first entry, new high, pull back second entry, a nice bullish bar right there. That was the one he used for his entry bar, coming right off the trend line. And I mean, he saw it well. Pull back to the EMA and trend line, second entry long. And then he just describes it here, second entry and a bull signal bar closed at the top. That's a good signal when it closes at the very high. And you can see where he went long, and you can see where he exited. And I wanted to read his email too. It says, "Hi Mac, just wanted to drop you a note and thank you. I've been watching your YouTube channel for about 5 months, and then join your membership to watch your training. One thing stuck with me the other day you stated, which says, don't take a trade unless it's clear. I wanted to send you this just to show you what you have taught me. I was a loser before learning price action, CMR live, most of the time. Now I win most of the time if I follow the rules. Let me read that again. I was a loser prior to learning price action, even if I was trading CMR live most of the time. Now I win most of the time if I follow the rules. Hope to go live in the next few weeks or two. This month took 26 trades, that 73% on winner. So he's having success after about 5 months. Doesn't mean he's there yet, but it's obvious he sees this, it's working, and he's having some success. So there's one that I wanted to share. Okay, here's another one I got. And this looks like the same chart from the same day from a different trader. And he saw the spike in the channel that's working up here as well. He missed the trade. This was the trade the other trader saw that worked out so well. Um, but he saw the second entry long here, two-legged pullback to the EMA, to the midline. He missed this one. He saw this failed second entry short here that worked. He saw the second entry long there. Um, Again, he saw this. Not sure what he saw here. I guess he's seeing this. This actually, that is a second entry long. Move up, pull back, because this bar didn't go as high as second entry long. He saw that one. Pull back, first entry, pull back, second entry long. He saw another one. So he saw all of them right. And notice he's got it down here. He's got his trade, the 4 trades he's looking for, second entries, failed second entries, failed breakout, and breakout pullback. And that's, in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. But I wanted to read, the most important thing I wanted to read was his email. Dear Mr. And also take into account that not all of our people that watch our videos and do this, their English is not always their first language. So it's obvious that English is not his first language, but I want to read what he wrote to me. Dear Mr. Mack, I have watched your YouTube videos for more than a month. I must say that I truly thank you for what you do. My trading improves every day. It gets better and better. I used to stick myself to indicators including stochastics, ADX, chart patterns, and Elliott wave, which I find impossible to employ to the market. I am very frustrated at using those indicators. They might work this time, but some other time they just don't work. I came across your channel on YouTube and follow it. You interpret the market in a manner that seems to be so simple, so I subscribed to your channel to see how it goes. I really didn't understand what you said at first. I kept watching the videos over and over until I get it, because I'm very obsessed with the things I don't understand. Thanks to you, now I can read price action. You helped me to realize the market does not move randomly. In fact, it goes the way that is likely to predict. I'm able to now see where the market might go without any fancy indicators except the EMA. It goes on to say here the trades I found yesterday. Actually, he sent me 2 days worth. I watched and marked them on my live account. There was one losing trade that I took, and I learned now from that mistake. After that day, I watch your trades on YouTube to see how I perceive the market, to see if it's the same as you. I guess I am making good progress thanks to your dedication. And I don't read that for the nice things he says about me. I just want you to understand that, he's been doing this for a little more than a month, and he's already getting it. So it can be learned. So I went ahead and put his other chart up here too, just to show you he did it in more than one day. It wasn't just one day that he saw it. And he's seeing, these are all the same, pretty much the same trades that I was seeing. And notice he recognized that he was going short into support here. So he has that one marked in green, even though it was a failed second entry long and came right off the trend line. Saw this one. This was the one. This was the one that confused him. It was a nice second entry short, but it wasn't back to the trend line yet. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't always. Here's one that didn't get back to the trend line yet, but it still worked. So he missed this one, but he didn't recognize the break, the close outside, and the 2 legs down, and he learned from that. Then he recognizes the reversal here. He took that trade. So very good. This gentleman is doing very, very well, especially to only be at it for a month. I mean, I get people that have been at it for years and can't make go a day without losing. So it just, and again, I don't put this up here to to toot my horn or anything. It's I mean, if what I'm doing helps you, that's great. But all it is if you learn to read the chart and you understand what it's telling you, you can do this. It's possible. Okay, here's another one. I might have already shared this chart, but this was that trade that fooled everybody that, she doesn't have the bigger channel drawn, but she saw this spike in the channel here, the two legs down, and she recognized the trap. And here's the email she wrote me. Hi, Mac. I wanted to show you this trade that set up really well on my chart. I wasn't sure we hadn't already had a break of the uptrend, but I thought it was sort of like yesterday with a steep move up and then a new channel. Looking at it that way, I saw this nice two-legged move back with a short trap. When the bars started overlapping at the bottom below the 21 EMA, I started wondering if it was going to go into a range instead. But then it made that really nice trap bar, which she's talking about, that bar right there, broke lower and reversed. Made that really nice trap bar, and this is where she's really excited. Now, I did not get trapped. She's got multiple exclamation marks. It turned into a really good trade. I got the first target at 4 ticks, and then I got my second target of 2 points on her runner. Felt good about this one. Hope I wasn't completely off base on what I saw. Thanks for looking. So somebody else, they recognized that this was not the place to go short, to wait and see what happened. And by waiting, she was able to get an easy scalp and then make 2 points off a runner. So there's somebody else that's getting it and that understands. So here's another one that came in. This one came in, this was Wednesday as well. Same chart that I just showed you on a couple of the other ones. And there's that trade. But he found the bigger channel. So it's pretty interesting that, and let me just read his email. His was quick and to the point. It says, hey, Mac, would like to show you my channel for day since I'm so happy about it. This is the first time that I saw it very early. Took the long with the thick circle. So he saw the long right there. Thanks for all. And his name. I'm not going to call any names or anything. But there's a newer guy. He doesn't say how long, but first time he actually found the channel without me showing it to him. He found it early. And you can see what's really interesting is he sees the shorter term ones. And he recognized here to go long on that second entry long. And then the failed second entry short for the most part right there. And then he saw that long right there that bounced off the EMA. Actually, that's the failed second entry short. That's a breakout pullback long, and you can see that across there. Breaks higher, pulls back, and really, you could look at this like a first leg up, pull back, and then a second leg up. So this is similar to a failed second entry long. It is a little close to this high, but he still recognized that it was a trade and saw it move up, and he was still able to identify it. And he definitely identified this failed second entry short. He saw this one, and he saw this one. So very good. There's another one. I got a whole bunch of these like on Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's the reason I'm sharing them. Here's one I got today. I thought I'd show it. This gentleman sends me a lot of his stuff and shows me his profit stuff quite often, and you can see his email's quick and short. It just says, for showing me how to do the impossible, laughing out loud. I won't show you the week because you wouldn't believe it. So this is just today. I think this was today. He sent me this. Let me look at the date. Yeah, he sent me this today. So this was, and he sent me this by 10:22 a.m. my time. So he made this this profit today before 10:22 a.m. my time. So, and you can see he basically made a little over $1,300 today doing what we do. And he knows the rules, he follows them, and basically uses the price action. So another good one. Congrats on the day there, by the way. I'm sure he always usually watches the video, so I'm sure he'll comment from seeing his chart up there. But very good. Doesn't get much better than that. So, and here's one more. She didn't send a chart, but she did send an email. And I just wanted to read it to you because it kind of brings home a point. It says, hey, Mac, my trading is getting much better. I can relate when you talked about it being boring and not having emotions anymore. Makes it much less stressful. Anyway, I find myself waiting for second entries that don't always come. if you get, she's actually asking me to describe some more second entries when, or when it's acceptable to take a first entry rather. And but anyway, I like that comment, so I wanted to share that about the when it, if you're still trading and it's very emotional and you get highs on the wins and you get real low on the losses, then you still got some work to do because once you make it at this, you really shouldn't feel those emotional swings. I mean, we're going to have losses, so it's just part of it. You take a loss, you say, okay, made a mistake there. Make a note of that mistake so you can come back and study it closely later to see what you missed or how you could have, what you might have done differently, and then just keep on trading, and then you forget about it, and you don't think about it again. That loss is done. It's over with. It's part of what we do every day. And the same thing with a win. You get a winning trade, you can't get all excited and high about it, and because we're expected to win. That's part of what we do. So just put the win in your pocket and go on and get the next one and just keep on, keep on trucking on. So uh, that was the reason I wanted to share that email, basically because she talked about it, and you probably won't relate to it until you get there. But just remember, tell yourself, keep that thought in the back of your head that if you're still getting those emotional highs and lows from winning and losing, then it just means that mentally you're not quite there yet. You might understand price action, you might understand what we're doing, but mentally you're not quite there yet. So if you are feeling like that, and even though you're good at reading the price action and you can sim trade and do well, then just what I recommend you do there is just go to singles and scalp out on every trade and just keep working on those singles and scalping out until you kind of get past that emotional high and lows that you get until you get control of that mental part, because this is a two-step process. Step one being that you have to learn how to read the chart. You have to learn what we're doing here. And that takes some people longer than others, just as based off of my emails I read today. I've got guys that have been doing this for a few months and they're getting it. And then I got some guys that have been doing it for years and they're now closer than they were the day they started. And I feel your frustration if you're there. But one thing I will add, and then I'm gonna wrap this up, is that um, I wanted to talk about the emotional part, which I talked about that. But another part is over analyzing the chart. People that are very analytical, engineers, and people like that, they struggle with price action because they want clear-cut rules and things that say, if the market does this, I'm doing that. And if the market does that, I'm doing this. And it's not that easy because what looks like a good setup, like right here, you got a failed second entry short that in a lot of instances would be a great long. But in this context right here, it's not. It's a terrible setup. And if you went long there, you got trapped. And I'll probably get some emails and people say, I saw this failed second entry. Why didn't it work? Well, it didn't work because you're going long at the very highs on a trading range kind of day when we're working to the other side of the trading range. Plus, if you saw the upper channel, we've had the close outside, a retest attempt, and now we were working lower. Now we're working back to the upper side of the trading range. In the end, the trading range trumped everything. And so this was just a lower swing high. Notice there's two measured legs up there. Perfect. We showed them they're two measured perfect legs. So now when it starts heading down, you probably want to take into account that that's leg one right there, and you're looking for leg two over here, and there's another perfect measured leg. It might have went one tick lower there, but that's close. That's just, I mean, if you can figure out where the market's going within a tick or two, you've done really well. So, uh, so that's the other part I wanted you to take away from today is that we're not just trading patterns here. You've got to not only see the pattern or see the setup, but you have to understand the bigger picture and the context of what prices are doing. Even though prices were correcting here, in the bigger picture, they're headed from this side of a trading range to the other side of a trading range. So if you have to understand that. And then from here, we were at this point we were playing this support and the double test rule, but we were also playing this channel, which says, and the rules tell us prices are going to make a new high. So don't overanalyze what and don't try to box it into a set of rules that, you do this every time it does that, or you do that every time, because what it will do is lead to a lot of losses. So just keep that in mind. And because I see that quite often. Generally, the people that struggle the most to learn what we do are very analytical types. They're generally engineers and computer science people and those kind of people that are used to having strict rules and and they really struggle to get outside of having strict rules and and that's one thing I hate about trading plans that I used to see around the internet and trading of patterns and things like that because uh, the best patterns will fail. And I used to think that, even myself up until recently, I would make the comment, and I believed it at the time, was that, sometimes good trades just fail. But now that I've learned price action a little better, I realize that's not the case. The price action is really never wrong. We just misread it and we misinterpret it. And and you can't just trade the patterns, which I've always said that anyway. That you can't just trade the patterns. But I don't believe that good trades fail. I just believe that we misinterpret what prices are doing and we get trapped on the wrong side and it goes without us. And or either goes without us or it not only goes without us, it goes without us while taking our money because we're trapped on the wrong side. And that's the worst case scenario. All right, this one's a little long today, almost 40 minutes worth, but this will be the last one for a week. So I did want to share some stuff with you, but I'm going to call it a day after this video, and I'm going to get out of here, and I won't be back until uh, the next uh, the next lesson will be August the 3rd, assuming we get back from Brazil. Sometimes you never know about flights, and they get canceled, and we get delayed, or we get stuck somewhere along the way. So barring that all our flights run well and smooth, and that there's no delays or cancellations, I will be back on the end of the office trading, and then starting back our chart lessons on Monday, August the 3rd. So hope everybody has a good week while I'm gone. Hope you had a good week this week so far and that you wrap it up well tomorrow. And we'll be back to do it on August the 3rd. But I'm out of here for today and for the rest of next week. Um, Actually, for tomorrow as well. Remember, no chart lesson tomorrow because I'm leaving tomorrow. But I'll see you in a week or so. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'll see you then.